Hello. Hi,
Hello.
guys. This is Online Ashram today, and our topic for today is a very interesting one. It's called Transcending the Matrix.
Hmm.
And firstly, I say, what do I feel about what is Matrix? Um, it's a theory which goes by it's a simulated reality that we live in a simulated reality. It's the same with the Hindu or Buddhist concept of samsara, which says samsara is all Maya, which is all this is an illusion. So the concept was brought in the West by a French sociologist called Jean Boudria, if I'm not very wrong. And he first brought forward the theory that we are all living in a simulation. So, my first question to everyone would be, what is the matrix theory that resonates the most with you? And how do you think we can escape it? Or how do you know we are in it?
Okay. Who would you like to start?
Um, Will, please start.
Okay. The Matrix. I didn't study it too much, so what I think about it, maybe it's you can compare it with Maya, like you were already saying, with illusion. That is doesn't mean illusion is not existing, but it's not the ultimate reality. So it's a part of reality where you manifest yourself. Right? There is a part of reality inside yourself and also in the outside world, which should be stable. But most of things which we see are changeable, and this changeable is according to certain structures, certain laws, and this maybe we can understand as a matrix. It should be a natural something which guides change in life. And to escape matrix, you have to find that element in yourself or in the environment which is stable, which is not not going with change, which is not changing. And I think the matrix is got a certain structure of laws which should not be frozen. It should be dynamic, something like that. I've seen there is a kind of um, film about the Matrix. I think I saw it, but it's a long time ago, and it's a set of structures where we think we are living inside, but we forget to transcend it, like you were saying. We forget to go beyond the structure, the matrix, and
A lot of people actually believes that the movies are like a metaphorical documentary on reality.
yes, but what is reality then? What is reality? It's not reality. It's itself chosen reality. You know, it's. I think you can make your own matrix, your own concepts and thinking and emotions, and some you have from long time, and some you can create, and see the work like it is. And you should try to go deeper to be more happy in life, I think, because I think one of the basics of happiness is to have a certain freedom inside yourself, not be captured in structures. And the matrix has something to do with structures, and be not able to escape it, not able to transcend it. But I think the way is in simplicity, like in simplicity of your own mind. I think you can transcend all the matrices which are made or not made or from nature or whatever. This is what comes up in me.
Oh, very interesting.
Thank you. Would somebody else like to answer?
I found that very interesting, where you said that, the matrix could be like a few different things, and it can be your choice to leave. And yeah, for me, I would say, like, I view it. I don't know if it's the best way to describe it, but I can say the earliest form of, like, when the matrix started, I think. When there's like kings and queens and they live in like a little town, and all the people in the town work for the king, if that makes sense. Everything they do is to survive, because the king allows them to survive because they work for them. We don't necessarily have like a clear king in this current day and age, but everything that surrounds us, and everything that we do, and the way we have to survive, is through ways which are somewhat controlled. I don't know how to explain it really well, but we touched the topic of like big pharma, big companies that own almost everything and constantly market to us, and like compete with pricing from smaller companies to make them like the dominant player in the shops, and the things that they sell to us lead us to come back for more, and this kind of cycle, I would call that like a matrix, and I guess it's I believe it's possible to leave it, but how is the question. Yeah.
So to me, Matrix, if you're happy for me to contribute as well, is like a program, and like Lucia said, some awareness that can come through. Oh yeah, okay, I'm in this program that maybe some people want me to believe certain things, or there's certain limitations on your thoughts, and if you become aware of it, oh okay, I'm in a little bit of like a game, maybe like a metaphor from the Matrix movie. Um, this is first step. Okay, I realize I'm in it. And for the very long time, I really wanted to escape the matrix. And I thought, okay, this is something really bad, or, I should maybe talk about this, but reptilians, oh my God, I don't want to talk about that. And then I've realized this is natural part of everything. So this is how we function, and this is perhaps my personal perspective. For some people, matrix can be good because it's not. It can teach you to sort of become more and more self-aware, but you can get to a point where you feel like this is actually limiting me. These systematic beliefs, they no longer serve me. I want to transcend and have a self-realization. I can create my own reality. I am not dependent on my boss. I am not dependent on the social structures that surround me. I can, with a simple mind, like William said, um, consciously create my reality and manifest my thoughts if they're persistent and consistent, um, and strong in intention. So to me, that's like escaping matrix. But how? I have no other tips other than what William said, like a nature, maybe some kind of nature.
Will, would you like to join?
Uh,
I'm sorry, Francis. Would you like
yeah.
to say something?
Sure, sure, sure. This is, I think, an important discussion. How to get untrapped or transcend the matrix. Mm. I heard very nice concepts of you. I think the old Vedic concept, don't get caught by the illusion of the outside world, um, stay clear inside and enjoy this world, do something good in it, but don't get lost in it, something like that. And I would like also to see the picture today. I heard about this big pharma and so forth. I'm always saying there's something wrong in our structure of the world because, in fact, the poor are feeding the rich, and this should be the other way around.
Yes.
And this is for me the present matrix which we are in, and we're trying to change with enlightened leadership, where um, the people which you are leading are your prime focus and not your own self or something like that. I think there's a lot to do in this sense, and this kind of what people call materialism or greed, it is some kind of matrix in which we are gripped. Because if one is greedy and leaders are greedy, people want to be greedy also because this is what they are taught. And it's better to learn to share and learn to be ungreedy. And I don't mean poor, but I mean more, we have so much resources on this world. If we share them well, we will be much happier altogether. And this is a kind of, for me, a way to transcend the matrix, to go the other way and not the way we are going presently. I don't think kings should be rich because, and everybody should be poor. And the king can be rich, but then he should make his people also rich. And this is the same for governments and the same for corporations. Why should a leader of a corporation have 25 million euros a year, and the people who do the basic work, they have 1 or 2,000 euros, and they preferably give this to people in countries which don't have Western prices, in their monthly payments and so forth. This is what I'm thinking. So I think we have a long way to go. We can individually transcend the matrix, but to go as a society and transcend the matrix, we have a long way to go. And that's why we do our enlightened leadership master classes and this kind of programs, to help people to find other ways and become altogether more prosperous and go in the right way.
Okay. So, in a nutshell, it would be something like it's a kind of illusionary network which a specific number of powerful people are trying to control and manipulate the rest of the people into some programmings and behavior, which the people should be trying to break off. And the aim of it would be something like self-actualization, but in the end, like Francis, you said, our aim should be a collective self-actualization, so that we all as a collective, we have transformed the matrix. Okay, so from the first question, I think it comes down to the invariable. The second part is, do you believe in the 99% 1% theory? So is it like 1% of the world that are powerful, they're actually manipulating us through different sources, and that is how they are keeping the people in control or in a state of fear where the population can be easily controlled? Go on, Lucia, please.
So I guess this relates to like slavery. Slavery has been around for a very, very long time. There are some theories that we as humans were created as slaves, but I don't personally. I don't like that. It doesn't feel right. Because we are spiritual beings with emotions, and we feel like our purpose is more than serving. I mean, I don't know. It's quite hard because then in religion, you are serving like a higher power by your actions, by what you do here on earth. But when you're here on earth and there's these, for example, corporations, they are limiting what you can do, but also at the same time you're being shown images of extreme wealth, and that's like the 1%, and the more we see it as the people of the working class, the more we become greedy, or that we think, this is possible, we can do this, which it is, I believe, but like there's so much to it that you kind of like really have to think about if what like you you want to strive for that, how can you create a community out of it when most of that wealth is built on slavery or taking advantage of people, or taking advantage of the value of their work and time, I watched a video recently that talks about the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire, and is it a billion seconds is 32 years and a million seconds is I can't remember exactly how much, but it was a huge difference. So when you think about there are actual, billionaires on this planet, the amount of people they, have had to exploit and the amount of work to build that kind of wealth is immense. It feels insane, And this is the kind of structure that people who wish to, transcend like the matrix want to break down, because why can't everyone, enjoy this kind of wealth? Like, not that everyone has to be a billionaire, but why can't everyone have access to food and water and safety and, have communities around them that support them? Like, it's, yeah, big topic to discuss.
I guess it's as if like a class of people doesn't want the normal humans to excel, so
Yeah.
that they won't reach, not that everyone, so that not everyone will reach self actualization. So it's going to be easier to control people like sheeps.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
100% agree with that. Yeah, it's unquestionable. There is a lot of people in power and people who are being controlled by people who take advantage of them. But there's also a lot of split, especially after COVID, where a lot of people say, "Oh, we're going to split into two types of people," like we discussed last week: people who love technology and sort of this matrix hierarchical type, and people who love to support each other, grow vegetables, and sort of make their life simple. And I hope it's going to merge together over time. But also, I personally believe there is about 1%, if not more, on this planet now of people of high consciousness who are hoping to uplift the others and change the reality.
Yes.
A bit,
Yes.
a bit of a war going on.
That's indeed true. I must say what you said, Elon, and that's beautiful. Yes, they are upstream and downstream. They're consumers and they are creators. People who create thoughts and want to do something. This indeed is the idea of the online ashram, to help people to grow beyond their average, and also to get indeed out of this kind of feeling being controlled, and get uncontrolled. It means become wise enough to make your own steps in life. And yes, maybe this 1% of enlightened people who gave other examples of how life could be. I remember I had an interview with Alex Brookman. He said, we sometimes see a wrong picture, and people make a wrong picture of not everyone needs to be a billionaire or a millionaire. You can have a happier owned company or even happy working in a corporation if you're treated well. And you don't need to be very rich. I remember also Marshall Goldsmith said something like that. Mm, is some kind of bottom amount of money and some top amount of money in which you are happy. Having much more, you don't become much more happy. And having less is not comfortable because you can't pay the bills and you have worries. You have worries for your kids, for your family, and that's not nice. And I believe that amount is somewhere like on around $10,000 in the Western world. It would be less in Eastern world where the whole cost of living is less, but in Western world is about with $10,000 a month, um, you can live a quite happy life. You can afford the things which you want. You have a car and a washing machine and some place to live and so forth. And there are some interesting thoughts also. Um, how should we think as leaders? How should we think as leaders to create a more balanced society? No, we don't need to be all the same. People who work hard naturally deserve more than people who are lazy. Also, in an ideal system, people who do like to do less or just don't want to do, or it is natural they earn less than people who work hard. But maybe these differences, this is always my idea. Why do we want such large differences? It's a mm, kind of not needed, according to me. I don't know what you panel members think of that.
I think again, it completely depends, like, on the structure of the society where that's taking place. Because first of all, who values what work as more valuable than another? Like, for example, there's people who deal with animal meats and butcher them, and in some, cultures, that's like one of the lowest jobs, where you touch animal flesh. And but that's quite hard work.
Mm.
My my boyfriend is, a grill chef, and he always has to, chop some meat, and he's very tired. And who's to say that somebody sitting in tech industry typing, like on the computer, is working harder than him? And why is, the pay so different? But again, there are so many reasons for this. Like, that person in tech may be a part of an operation which is like supporting your local internet structure or something like that. But again, it depends, like, how you value the work, in order for something to work. And again, like, it's so difficult to come up with something that's just fair for everyone, because there are people who won't work, or there are people who can do certain things and people who just can't do other things. And like, do you think it would be best for that kind of structure to have a singular leader, or would it be better to have like more of a democratic kind of party to solve that issue?
That's so valid of you to say. I'm so glad you're questioning this. And thank you for saying the amount, Francis. I was wondering today how much I want to earn from my freelance business. And yeah, I mean, I just, again, it comes back to the same question. If you earn this amount, like, how much taxes are you going to pay then? But yeah, would you say all that, like, it would be agreeable for? Is it true in Scandinavia everyone has the same pension no matter what job you worked, or is that not the case? And if it was, how would you feel about that?
That's nice.
I think it would be very good.
It's the rumors we have in Poland that it's about 1,000 euros, or yeah.
Yeah, I think it's different. But there's one thing one should not compare oneself too much with other people, because there are always people who have in a bad and in a more worse situation. There are always people who are in a better situation. So if you measure yourself or others on what they have or don't have, it's not the ultimate measure, because people can have billions but absolutely no happiness, and they want more because they think then the happiness comes, but never it comes. So we should have, indeed, we should have moderate income, or moderate, so that we can do what we like to do, but we should not attach our happiness on what wealth we have. That is a wrong thing, because I've seen people who have nothing who are completely happy, it seems. Somehow they have the food, but they are completely happy, and others who have a lot of things and are never happy enough, or feel never um, yeah, so we should not. This is also part of the matrix, that we have to compare ourselves. We should just be aware that we are of our own consciousness, and also one part of the matrix is that we lean a little bit on the crutches of others. So we should be independent in ourselves. I think then we are a lot freer from this matrix. We can do this big picture, we can't hardly change. So we have to be free. Freedom we have to find in ourselves, and this is the first step. And if we find freedom, then the matrix has to become more soft, because it has not much grip on us, and it becomes less. So we should not believe in the matrix. That's one thing. And maybe act a little bit and do good for others and what we can, but we should not believe in it, that it's taking us too much. We should believe that we are, in the end, we are stronger than whatever matrix there is.
I guess one of the aspects you can say about matrix is that it puts this thing in your head that as a person, your worth should be equated with money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's a very wrong thing to put in human beings' mind, because if it was, I think the perfect world, in a perfect world, every human should be provided all the physiological things,
Mm-hmm.
shelter, food, and everything, and they should be all at the same level, so that after that, whatever their skills are or wherever they shine, they can, like, they should not have to fight for the basic things at all. The fact that we have to, as a race, we have to like fight so much for even the basic things is like staggering. And as for example, like, I think sports persons, they get paid like insane amount of money for something they do. Like, can a person like us, like, we can't even imagine getting paid 1 million or 2 million for something I could do in like 1 hour. I understand it comes with a lot of skills and practice, but that is why I think we should never equate our worth with money, which is what matrix tells us to do.
Good, very good point.
That sounds so beautiful. We all just followed our passions and left the money behind.
Mm. So another thing I've noticed about matrix, whenever people from like millennials and Gen Z, they're talking about escaping the matrix, it's often they're at the lowest point in their life. And that's when they realize that, okay, I have to get out of the matrix. So, do you think that matrix has to do something inherently with suffering? And that is why, like, because not all the people in their life are unhappy. There are so many people in the world who couldn't be bothered to get out of the lifestyle they have.
Oh yeah,
So
God. Yeah.
when do we feel the need to push out of this matrix, or does it only happen to people because they're suffering?
Who wants to go first?
Yeah. You're definitely easier to control when you're suffering. Yeah, I think that's me now, like trying to escape the matrix and oh gosh, I don't need all these people to exist. The nature provides food, vegetables. It's so easy. You can just have a garden and make vegetables, and you can eat those. Like you don't need that much to live. And all the billboards in big cities, they tell you have to be perfect, you have to have this and that. Yeah, definitely. If your self-esteem is very low, like I used to be a model, and in my head I had to be so skinny, and I had to have these clothes and those clothes, and it never stops. Like William said, then there are stickers on the cars and lampposts where everywhere they say enough, big enough, wealthy enough, rich enough. You know, there's only so much you can do, and this is exactly what Matrix wants you to be hooked on, like the hamster on the wheel, just constantly earning more, 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 never enough. And yes, you feel very low. Your self-esteem is very, very low, and this way you're easier to control, like a puppet. You needed this, you needed that to feel good enough to be accepted. And who's telling me that? Is it somebody telling me I'm good enough, or is it me?
Can I add something? So you mentioned hamster on a wheel and like generating, that's what makes me think about, like in the Matrix, there's all these people who are kind of coerced into generating something, generating some kind of energy, which is you, or in this case, money, which is, and time. And the people in power, they take that from us because we feel like we have to. Like often there's all these societal pressures, and they make you, feel like you have no choice in many cases. And there aren't, especially in like the Western society, there is just not much of a supportive community. There are some starting to form now, and there are people who definitely do have their local communities, but a lot of like our families are separated now and discouraged to live together. And now, marriage isn't even that common. People don't want to have children, and there's all this kind of like happening where we're all being separated, and then told that the only way we can survive is if we make this money, if we work for this person, if we get these things, we'll be good enough. If we achieve these, like things, standards set by social media and other brands, that then will be good enough. Once we have that face cream, will be good enough, or once we get to that weight. And it's just all of this feels like it's distracting us from something. And I can't help but feel like part of wanting to escape is coming from not just suffering, but from realizing that the goal is slightly different than what we have been told it is.
Yeah, it almost feels like as if we're asleep somewhere and we're not living our real life. And it obviously begs the question that who is benefiting from this? Who is benefiting from keeping us in a system like this? Is it like just human greed, anger collectively coming and making a usually are actually real people, or some sort of entities benefiting from the whole system, like hamster on a wheel?
It's probably a mixture of both of what you mentioned, and it's it wants us to be separated from one another, and it wants us to be greedy, disconnected, and all about ourselves. So then we're stronger when we're together, and whatever is creating the state of mind doesn't want that. Like whether it's government, whether it's rich people, whether it's aliens, or whatever is steering us from above. Our realization is the biggest power we have. We just need to keep on reminding each other. So lifted by our conversations weekly because, yeah, it's a powerful tool to stand together for remind ourselves we are not what we are told to believe, and we can live simple life, um, just serving each other. We're happier when we help other people.
Francis, I thought you wanted to say something, mention something.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Um, uh, it's something funny or not funny, uh, which I heard Polish governments sometimes were using to control their people. Uh, this was making the price of alcohol cheaper.
Oh no, no way!
It's
Oh
like a
yes,
mind control method in a way.
yes, because if alcohol became cheaper, the people would drink more, and if people drink more, they're more easy to control. And uh, Uh, this is just one example of governments controlling people. Um, I think governments do that in many ways, and they can do that in good ways, kind of supportive to their people, but sometimes also unsupportive and keeping people low-minded. I heard this theme back from you. You know, if you keep the people not excelling, not become too brilliant, not become enlightened, keep them in the matrix, they will pay the taxes, they will go to everything and do everything we are told we must do like that, and we should do like that, and uh, it doesn't matter how you feel, happiness is not so important. It's some kind of I would say not so pleasant way of controlling people. Fear, I think fear. Uh, many. This is also what the insurance companies do. Yes,
I
if
mean,
you don't
pandemic was the biggest example of fear.
say it again.
Pandemic was like the biggest example of pandemic and
Oh
vaccination.
yes, oh
Yeah.
yes, oh yes, yes, and it was also connected with medics, yes, so with fear. If you don't take our pills and tablets, your grandfather and grandmother will die, and because of you, it was all fear based, and mm, maybe is a correlation between being in the matrix and fear. If you become courageous and have some distance, you learn to have some distance, you might be able to get more out of the matrix. And also, we should be very practical. We live in a world which is like it is, and if you want to make it better, uh, we can get very hard about it and protest about it, but we can also drive the wheel of change which is manageable, and not do the things which are not possible, but do the things which are possible in our life, in our environment. Um, William and me, we are making programs for leaders how to help them to, in fact, it's also for them to get out of some kind of expectations. I did a research, um, which of the people have most influence in a corporation, in the future of a corporation. Is it a coach? Is it the CEO, the main director? Is it the employees, or is it are it the customers?
I would say customer.
Or there was one more. This is financial stakeholders. It means banks and people who have stakes in this kind of companies, who have shares. Yes, and the conclusion was is that shareholders who have the biggest influence in a company.
Hmm.
But I made a second questionnaire. Um, would you mind to pay a little bit more if you were sure the company which you're buying products from will pay their workers very well? And everybody was 91% was prepared to pay a little bit more.
That's good.
It
That's
means
exciting.
yes, yes,
That's how you think we could put an end to capitalism,
uh,
right?
y- yes. Make everybody rich, make everybody in a state of non-poverty at least.
Yeah.
Yes.
Peace.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And you still can choose to be greedy or not greedy. If you want to be greedy and not give anything to anyone, please go ahead. But I think it's better to share.
Yes, yes.
So,
Oh,
would
That's
you? Sorry, Ili, go on.
actually what me and Lucia were discussing last week. Like, would you pay a little bit more? And I was saying, well, yeah, but then it's going to be very expensive. And Lucia was saying it doesn't have to be that much more expensive because what's going to happen is the producers or the company that's hiring the manufacturers is basically not going to grab as big of a cake slice, but be a little bit more sharing and still make a lot, but not that much.
yeah, a
Can we?
company. Yeah, sorry. The company, that's like doing the operation. Like if it's not for profit, we already have some organizations which are called not for profit or non-profit, but if people were paid for their labor, like, so the product essentially, I mean, the product is something produced by multiple people's labor, but why does the company get so much out of it when, I mean, they come up with the idea and they get the people together, I guess, but like ultimately the people who actually manufacture the product in all those factories surrounded by toxic chemicals, and they don't even know, there are some people who have to work 18 hours or more a day, and for mass production sold at a huge markup, and where does the money go, like it doesn't make sense.
Yes, I think the capitalism should change that in this way, that they more care about the growth of the people, the development of the people, because then the people become more happy. I met some
Yeah.
people who were just so focused on one thing that they get narrow-minded, and they said, "I want to escape this." And this narrow-mindedness, then you get a feeling you are in a matrix, or the matrix has grip on you. So people should have the chance to also to relax, to keep their own development. In your own development, in your own creativity, your mind becomes broader. You becomes broader minded. And I think that it should be a little swift. The shift should be from capitalism or money first, or where is the money? Where how we can develop ourselves in better human beings, but also our skills, which we have and maybe didn't develop yet, but are able to develop yet. This, I think, we should have this kind of shift, and the leaders should play a part in it, because they are also most of the leaders are working too hard, and they are also become narrow-minded. So they should also watch and take care of themselves, that they are as a leader in a good condition. Otherwise, how they can help their people, how they can inspire their people. So and then collectively we can soften the matrix, and like Frans say, uh, turn the wheel a little bit less hard. Just enjoy more.
But I would like to point out that I think unless and until you become you have a certain level of awareness. First of all, people don't even realize that. Like, if you do not go inwards, you don't even realize what kind of soup are you in and how it is making your life so much hell.
That's
So,
true. That's true. But yeah, some people need to feel the boundaries of this kind of existence. At certain moment they will feel, and they will think how I can escape. Do I have to be more in that tendency, or should I escape it, or should I turn in some way, in a better way? Yeah, if you don't feel, you have to feel it. That's also part of development, and you can be if more people go and feel it, I think it will be easier for others also. So it's a collective thing. It's in fact it's a kind of collective awakening.
Because you mentioned collective awakening, it comes to the next question, which we have kind of discussed on a podcast before. That though it says like it's like there are so many layers of reality, and for us, we just live in the 3D world. So they say it's through breaking the matrix, we will be able to transcend into the 5D, and the tools we can use are like self awareness, love, and so would that mean when all of us collectively has shifted to the 5D, this concept of matrix won't be there anymore? We won't have to break through from anything anymore?
I
Very
don't know.
good question.
I think the ultimate reality is just love. Is just pure love between each other. I think that breaks most
Love, truth, and
boundaries.
existence.
Sorry?
Love, truth, and existence, the tagline for Ashram,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yes, 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 yes,
So
yes.
someone said to me before that we are part of this matrix, but in the whole universe there is matrix after matrix after matrix. But the and I can look at them sort of, if you look back, they can sort of help you and serve you in a way. But if you connect to your heart, you can sort of transfer between these dimensions, if you would call them, and it's
Hmm.
a key to free yourself from this web of matrix.
Wow.
Yeah, if you explore the universe, you will find another another Milky Way and another Milky Way and another Milky Way. If you go farther and farther and farther, will be never will be ending. I think it's an unbounded universe. But if
It's
you
like,
go,
yeah, it's the same thing happening in a small level and on a large level and
yes,
a larger level. Yeah.
I think so. Yes, but you have to be to find what Ilona is saying. You have to go to your own heart. There you find there everything comes together. Let me say like this: the things come together.
Simplicity.
Simplicity, yes, and it's also kind of transcendence of it.
Do you think the purpose of the matrix is to trigger that within us to develop spiritually in that way, or
Well, everything has many sides. So one of the things is things to help us to awaken. Because if we walk a certain road and we walk against the wall and we don't feel it the first time, you have to walk a second time and a third time until feel it enough to go to turn to the other direction. Maybe the wall should not be there, but it's there.
We have to push a little bit further and we'll be out of it. It's the finish line there. And we're very lucky to live in these times that we can transcend these patterns and help others. It's, love, love, love. Will be easy after that.
Yeah. I think our time is quite finishing, so I'll just pose my last question, which I want to know from you today. So, from the discussion, from the answers of Lucia, Will kind of feels like transcending should be like an unending process, because like we discussed that evolution happens in layers. So today we spoke about how can we break from the programmings of society, not equate our worth, how to good self-esteem. I think if you're following in the path of spirituality, the next level would be to break free from the matrix of samsara, which would be to break off from the cycle of birth and rebirth. So it's like first step would be breaking off from the regular problems and then breaking off from the even bigger problems. So it's like an unending process
Hmm.
in that way.
um,
So whichever dimension we are in, matrix is going to be there because the purpose is evolution.
wow.
I think you said something very beautiful. It's an unending process. Um, yes, and if we are able to transcend one unreality to reality. We can transcend the next also. That's why we can start. If everybody starts with growing a little bit in their perception in life, in their reality in life, you become a little bit happier every day. And whether you're very rich or not so rich materially, that's not so happy, because the value of that's not so important, because the value of happiness indeed is much more important. And yes,
So
it's
what Illy said, like heart-based living is what should be all aiming to do to primarily get out of the matrix.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
and enjoy the travel, enjoy the road. Because if there is one matrix after the other, enjoy the road. Like you go from one crossroad to the next, and every level has some kind of good or some kind of happiness. If you progress, there is some happiness attached to it.
What
It's a
is this
kind of
video
direction.
game we are all a part of?
Sorry,
Sir, what is this video game we are all a part of?
I don't know. We
Seems
are,
like levels.
yeah,
Exactly.
Make it.
Matrix. Yeah. Yeah.
We make it. We make it.
yeah, that's good. We make
Once we realize, what are we supposed to do? Like, I just,
Yeah.
just go ahead
Purpose,
and enjoy it.
intention.
It's horrible for me, I'll be honest with you. When you realize you can do anything and you gotta choose.
Yeah, sometimes it actually feels like with like everybody expects you to become something, and then when you shed all of those expectations, you're left with the question, okay, then who do I actually want to be? Probably it was better with all those expectations because I had some guidance.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
I
Um,
guess that is what the leadership program would teach us.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's the aspect of vision on day two, the first part. To develop your vision. So after you have got out of this matrix, then you stay in an empty state of mind. But this empty state of mind is very potential and can bring you to what you really want in life, to your mission, to your passion, to what is really important in your life and in the life of your direct friends and family and whatever you want to do.
Yes, yes.
Nice.
And there is also a
okay.
beautiful word. It's to discover. It means take the covers away, which you put in your own heart, in your own being, and then see who you are, what you are. I think if you be that, if you discover that, you find yourself. And all the other developments are more on the superficial level. It's all your qualities which you can serve humanity. But I think you have to discover, to
Can you
take the
say that
covers away.
again? This is
Take the
valid.
covers away inside yourself. One layer of cover is your thinking, another layer is your emotions, all the different emotions. That's our covers.
I really like that discovers to like take the covers away one by one slowly,
Yes, yes.
unravel the reality. I think we had a pretty
How do you take
extended.
them off?
Sorry, what were you saying?
How do you take them off? Don't you take the covers off and discover your true self?
Oh no.
Like I think it was like
Is this
Francis was saying, like looking inward, finding that space, going to that space where you're not thinking of anything, so that more things come to you.
Yes, yes. I think that's it. Well said. Yes. It's it's beautiful. We are discovering everything by talking together on the online ashram. This was the idea. I hope it will help somebody who is listening, and please join us next time.
Yes, we are almost like approaching an hour today. Would you guys like to continue this discussion to the next time to kind of discuss what can we collectively do to be a part of Matrix, but in a way we like?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes. And are we touching on psychedelics next?
I
Let's
think it could be a connecting topic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's stay online and discuss the next. Please end nicely,
Yes.
Abby, and
Thank you
then
so much, guys. It was my first ever chairing, and I really enjoyed it a lot with such wonderful panelists. How wouldn't I? But thank you so much for whoever joined us, and see you next week.
Thank you.
See you next week, guys.